Hi, my name is Sergio Dorado-Rojas. I am a second-year Ph.D. student at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, and this work called Orthogonal Laguerre Recurrent Neural Networks it was developed with Manuel from IBM and Luigi Vanfretti from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Recurrent neural networks are a kind of discrete-time system. An RNN takes an input u at a given time step k, together with the state at a previous time step x of k minus 1, to produce an output y of k using nonlinear activation functions. This behavior can be also explained from the perspective of a dynamical system, as depicted in this diagram. So here the state equation updates the state x based on information of the current input u and the previous state x. So the output equation uses this updated state to produce the output of the system. This close connection between RNNs and discrete-time systems has been used for analysis, that is to open the black box and understand RNN behavior from inside, as well as for design. Some recent proposals include Legendre memory units, LMUs, which use a time-domain orthogonal projection by Legendre polynomials to construct a linear time-invariant system state equation inside the RNN. Another proposal is bistable recurrent cells, BRCs, which force bistable dynamical behavior through nonlinearities to increase the RNN memory capability, thus mimicking biological neurons. Like the two previously mentioned architectures, our proposal is inspired by dynamical system concept. In particular, our design approach goes beyond the state equation of the system and uses a full state space representation of a discrete-time linear time-invariant system inside the RNN. So we use both the state equation and the output equation as constitutive parts of the memory update policy. We employ Laguerre functions, a complete basis for discrete-time linear time-invariant systems, to construct the system matrices A, B, and C that are used inside the neural network, both in the state equation and in the output equation. Recall that the state equation and the output equation are used to update the vector M that corresponds to the memory of the network. So the key here is to recognize that the expression, the closed form expression for Laguerre polynomials, is parameterized only in terms of P. Then we can obtain a recursive or a state space representation to generate Laguerre polynomials. That state space representation is given by this equation here, where we have two important definitions. First of all, we have the vector of Laguerre polynomials, so we arrange all the Laguerre polynomials from the first power to the nth power, and then we construct this matrix A that we will call A Laguerre, that is parameterized also in terms of P. We recognize that P is triangular and P is tuplets, so this is a really convenient structure for implementation. And then if we let B to be equal to the vector L at time equals 0, so the B is the vector of initial conditions, we have a powerful basis. So what does it mean? That we have a generic discrete time system with matrices A, B, and C. We can represent it as well using A Laguerre, B Laguerre, and C Laguerre would correspond to the vector, to the matrix of coordinates of the system on the Laguerre basis. This means that for every system, for every stable discrete time system, we can use the same A and B of the Laguerre obtained from the Laguerre polynomials, and then C is modified, depends on the system. This property is what makes our architecture powerful, because we let C to be learned during training by the network, so that the network can determine what LTI behavior is most convenient for the task being performed, and therefore it will select that particular dynamics direction to steer the behavior of the network accordingly. The ladder network is obtained by fixing the dynamical behavior, so we impose the dynamics that we want to have in the cell beforehand, and by doing that we first design the system that we would like to have, or the behavior that we would like to have inside the neural network, and that is a delay behavior. So what we do is to take advantage of the convenient mathematical representation of delays in the complex frequency domain. So a one sample delay has a straightforward transfer function g of z equals 1 over z. So for example, here this transfer function corresponds to a delay of n1 samples. And what we do is to construct a multiple input, multiple output system like we have here, And this system has performs a delay on each channel corresponding to the number of inputs, the number of samples mi that is specified during the design. So once g of c is defined, we obtain a, b, and z by realization of this transfer function, and then we put that behavior in the network. So we can see that ladder network is a special case of a Laguerre network where the behavior of the system is pre-specified and is said to be a delay-like behavior. So we validated the performance of the proposed RNNs and two benchmarks with dynamical system-related tasks. First of all, a nonlinear pendulum and a fluid flow system. For the time series prediction experiments, the goal was to predict the future behavior of the system from a set of available measurements. So the performance was measured at, so we set a prediction step, and then we measured the performance by how much is deviating the neural network prediction from the actual behavior of the system. And we can see here in this graph that the Laguerre network captures the dynamical system behavior better than ladder or LMU, thanks to the flexibility provided by the orthogonal basis. But you can detail the complete results in the paper. We have done more experiments as well, and you might and you can see that our architectures perform, if not the best, among the best of all the architectures that they were benchmarked against. So with this, I come to the end of this presentation. I would like to thank you for your attention and look forward to hearing some questions in the virtual poster session.